Somewhere in the suburbs of Sydney, Australia, something is waiting. It has no interest in you, it does not chase, and it will not come looking. But if you reach into the wrong garden bed, turn over the wrong rock, or leave your shoes outside on a warm, wet night, you have, by some estimates, as little as 15 minutes before your nervous system begins to collapse. Welcome! I'm Leo, and today we go deeper than ever before into the world of one of the most medically dangerous spiders on the entire planet. In today's deep dive, our top focus points include exactly what to avoid in your backyard, the terrifying reality of how this venom targets human biology, and the step-by-step survival protocol you need to know if you're ever bitten. Because this is not a tarantula, and it is not a garden spider you can flick away and forget about. This is Atrax robustus, a creature so venomous, so precisely engineered for lethality, that scientists still cannot fully explain why its venom works the way it does on human beings. Let's get right into it. To understand this spider, we have to go back to 1877, when a British arachnologist named Octavius Pickard Cambridge was cataloging specimens from southeastern Australia. He received a large, dark, heavily fanged spider unlike anything previously described in scientific literature. He named it Atrax robustus. Atrax comes from the Latin word for poison, and robustus means strong or powerful. I tell you what, he sure was right. But here is a side note that often gets left out of the textbooks. Indigenous Australians, including the Darug and Gundungurra peoples of the Sydney Basin, had known of this spider for thousands of years. Their oral traditions included detailed knowledge of dangerous creatures, and evidence suggests the funnel web held a respected and feared place in their ecological consciousness. As British settlers expanded into the bushland around Sydney, encounters became increasingly common and deadly. The first officially recorded fatality attributed to a funnel web bite was a child in the outer suburbs of Sydney in 1927, and over the next 50 years, at least 13 deaths were recorded. In the 1950s and 60s, a serious bite was, in many cases, a death sentence. What makes the Sydney funnel web genuinely unlike almost any other deadly animal in the world is that it doesn't live somewhere remote. It lives right alongside approximately 6 million people. Their core range stretches roughly 100 kilometers in every direction from central Sydney. They cannot survive in dry, arid conditions, so they seek out cool, moist, shaded microhabitats. They burrow into the earth beneath rocks and logs or inside dense ground cover. Their burrow is a feat of engineering, a silk-lined tunnel extending up to 60 centimeters into the ground, equipped with silk trip lines radiating outward at ground level. These trip lines detect the vibration of an insect's footfall and transmit the signal instantly to the spider. It is a radial alarm grid, custom-built for ambush. And here is a terrifying fact for pool owners. Wandering males frequently fall into swimming pools and can survive submerged in water for up to 30 hours by trapping an air bubble around their body. Even Aquaman isn't safe from these bad boys. Now let's look at this animal up close. Both males and females are covered in a smooth, glossy, dark brown to near black exoskeleton. But their most defining feature is their fangs. They are large enough to pierce a human fingernail. Because they are oriented downward, the spider must rear up onto its hind legs to deliver a bite, striking downward with significant mechanical force to maximize venom injection depth, almost like twin daggers. When threatened, most spiders flee, not Atrax robustus. When cornered, it holds a full threat posture, facing whatever is threatening it head-on. And here is the detail that genuinely disturbs experts. Venom visibly drips from the fang tips during this display. The spider is not bluffing. Yeah, these bad boys were made to fight. Within the first 10 minutes of a bite, victims experience severe pain, numbness, profuse sweating, and involuntary muscle twitching. Between minutes 10 and 30, the heart rate accelerates dramatically, blood pressure spikes, and saliva overproduces. Beyond 30 minutes, the lungs begin to fill with fluid, making breathing progressively more difficult. In a small child, death can occur in as little as 15 minutes without treatment. Now that is terrifying. Strangely, this venom causes almost no serious effects in most other mammals. Cats and dogs and even rabbits are largely unaffected by doses that would be fatal to a human. Humans and other primates are uniquely vulnerable, likely due to structural differences in our sodium channels. But here is the turning point. Since 1981, not a single person has died from a Sydney funnel web spider bite. A spider capable of killing a child in 15 minutes hasn't claimed a life in over 40 years. Finally, some good news. This is thanks to Australian toxicologist Struan Sutherland, who succeeded in developing an effective anti-venom in 1980. But producing it requires a massive, continuous supply of venom. It takes approximately 70 funnel web spiders to produce enough venom for a single vial of antivenom. Because of this, the Australian Reptile Park runs a life-saving public program where citizens safely capture spiders and bring them to local drop-off points to be milked. And here is where the story shifts. The funnel web is a highly specialized apex predator that controls insect populations. But even more incredibly, researchers have isolated a compound in their venom called Hi1, which has shown extraordinary protective effects on brain cells after a stroke. In animal trials, Hi1 reduced brain cell death by up to 80%. The same molecule that attacks our nervous system may soon be responsible for saving thousands of lives. So what are the top takeaways if you live in or visit southeastern Australia? Pay attention. First, prevention. Always wear thick leather gloves when digging or turning over rocks. Most bites happen to hands and feet. Second, shake out shoes and clothing left outside overnight before putting them on. Third, check your pool skimmers. Use a net to remove spiders, never your hands. If bitten, do not apply a tourniquet. Apply a firm pressure immobilization bandage to the entire limb, keep it still, and call 000 immediately. At the hospital, tell the staff you suspect a funnel web bite. And finally, if you find one in your home, use long tongs to guide it into a glass jar and bring it to a drop-off point. A live spider is a donation towards saving human lives. 6 million people share territory with a creature that once killed without warning and without cure. Yet this animal has not taken a single human life in over 40 years. That is not luck, that is science, and that is community. The lesson nature keeps trying to teach us is this: the things we fear most are so often the things we understand the least. The moment we commit to understanding them, we find that what we thought was purely a threat turns out to be something else entirely. If this video gave you a little more respect for this utterly extraordinary animal, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next episode. I want to know, would you catch a funnel web for the anti-venom program? Have you ever had a close encounter with one? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And speaking of our next episode, we are leaving the Australian suburbs and trekking deep into the Amazon rainforest to track down an insect whose sting is famously compared to walking over flaming charcoal with a 3-inch rusty nail embedded in your heel. We are facing off against the bullet ant. You won't want to miss it. Stay curious, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.